In today's episode, how to get wrecked by your service delivery manager and help desk. Less than 3 is in the air. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. How to get wrecked by your service delivery manager and help desk. I am currently a senior level IT specialist working on non-public systems. I have hopped around a myriad of contracts over the years. This particular story comes from over 10 years ago when I was the Datacenter Applications Lead and ran a 12-person engineering team that managed all of the applications that controlled a major data center. Everything from data mining/discovery, outage monitoring/alerts, ticketing system, automation infrastructure, inventory/CMDB, etc. My team didn't really use these tools, other than the ticketing system, so much as we built and configured them, architecture and DevOps, and then passed them off to Ops. We were only engaged when there was a problem with the tool itself, or a request came in to add functionality for the users, which were all of the other IT engineers/techs that worked at the data center. This story comes at a time when the SDM, Service Delivery Manager, was getting wrecked by the data center owner over outages. They owned the data center, my company ran the data center on their behalf. The owner, who spoke on behalf of all of the customers, was stating that outages were not being properly reported so that SLA requirements could be avoided. The owner had a very valid point because that is what was exactly happening. I was approached by the SDM where he wanted to know of a solution to this. I explained to him that the issue was really more of a policy-related issue, and that if you do not enforce your policies on how outage alerts are handled, and make some examples of people that skirt those policies, then the issue will never be resolved. How it was working at that time is that if an alert blew on the monitoring system, it would generate an alert in the monitor console, which was viewed by the 24/7 EOC. They would perform T1 triage and generate a service ticket in the ticketing system. They would then either perform corrective action if they could, or assign the ticket to the T2 team for resolution. The type of outage and type of system having the outage determined what SLA was bound to it, and the outage had to be resolved before the SLA timer ran out, or we lost money. What some engineers were doing was closing the ticket before the SLA expired and forgetting about it, or immediately opening up a new ticket over and over again to beat the SLA timers. What I proposed was to link the ticketing system and the monitor system together so that the monitoring system was the entity that actually created the ticketing system ticket, remove all ability for anyone to close those tickets, and have the tickets auto-resolve once the alert cleared in the monitoring system. Basically, server has X issue caught by monitor, monitor opens ticket and assigns directly to 24/7 T1 triage and issue is worked. Once the issue is resolved, the alert will go green on the next polling cycle, resulting in the monitoring system contacting the ticketing system and resolving the ticket. End product is that nobody can close these tickets unless they fix the problem, and they better fix it before the SLA expires. This would also result in those that normally try to skirt the system being unable to hide. The SDM agreed to the proposal, and it wasn't a really huge build as both the ticketing system and monitoring system were built by the same vendor. A few calls in a couple of weeks, and we had it set up and ready to test. And here is where things went off the rails, and I became the most hated engineer for a week. I proposed a slow rollout starting with one of the internal data center group assets being monitored, but the SDM just wanted to flip the whole thing to the on position. I don't like doing that. It had tested well in the dev pipeline, but this was production and, well, you know how that goes. I had also had my engineers take a quick look at there were hundreds of active alerts. This was going to be a problem since every one of those was going to result in an SLA-bound ticket. I had no means to determine the validity of the alert. My team set up /modified/removed alerts as requested. We did not work outages. He was adamant due to the customer breathing down his neck. The conversation went something like this. IT_curmudgeon, we should turn this on in stages. There are a lot of alerts that are either being currently worked on or are silenced. I don't know why there are so many, but that is going to be an issue. SDM, it's not a problem. This is what the customer wants. We have to give him what he wants. We will just deal with any alerts that pop up. Not a big deal. IT_curmudgeon, we can do that, but let's do it in stages. At least let us turn it on in a few enclaves first, see what issues crop up to ensure the process is sound, and then push out to enterprise. SDM, I told the customer I would have this up by the end of the day. Just flip the switch and stop worrying about the small things. IT_curmudgeon, you got it, boss. You see, what nobody knew is that the night shift help desk was comprised of a small handful of, I don't know if they are fools, just lazy, incompetent, or a combination of all three. It became clear after some research that well over 500 monitors had been silenced/hidden by the help desk. IT never seemed like a lot when you have over 100K active working monitors. A good portion of these were from systems that were decommissioned or were in various stages of build-out. It was apparently easier for the project teams and help desk to just hide/silence alerts instead of making a ticket to have the alerts removed. But also, multiple nodes in quite a few clusters had gone down, blew an alert, night shift help desk checked the app and saw that it was working and just silenced and hid the alarm. I walked back to my team's bullpen, told them to forward all their phones to my cell and said, light the fuse. I then pulled my chair right up to the door to the bullpen, blocking anyone from entering. We had at least 500 alarms going off, the majority of them ping alerts, that had SLA timers of anywhere from 15 minutes to 4 hours. The EOC dashboard, up on a dozen massive wall-mounted displays, looked like that scene from War Games. You could see quickly flashing red lights coming from under the EOC door from the hallway, like some sick, demented, holiday festival, complete with wails of fear, anger and sadness. My phone immediately lost its sh*T on my hip, and I had to body block managers from my bullpen full of engineers. I explained what was going on and no, the monitoring system was not broken. No, you cannot just shut it off. Yes, I knew this would happen. Go speak to the SDM. Every phone belonging to an engineer, on duty, on call, or off work rang. Since I was part of that team from before, that just meant more phones calls for me, where 95% of them went like this. IT_curmudgeon's phone, ring ring. IT_curmudgeon, IT_curmudgeon here. IT engineer, what the F dash? IT_curmudgeon's phone, click. I think after everything was said and done, only like 5% of the alerts were actual real alerts, but they all broke their SLA. The rest were mainly systems that were no longer around, but nobody had requested to be removed from active monitoring. I was initially blamed for the issue of having an excess of decommissioned systems being actively monitored, but I told them point blank that myself nor my engineers are their trash men. We get a request to set up a monitor, modify a monitor, or remove a monitor. We do not watch for alerts. There were well north of 100K monitors set up, including enclaves in various stages of build-out. My old team hated me and my team for a week, but when they found out the real cause of the incident, they understood. They were still not happy, although they did get OT out of it. I think after the dust settled, several help desk agents, and at least one senior tech was shown the door. They didn't bust any SLAs the entire time I was there after that. The SDM moved on less than a year later. I moved on out of team management and back to engineering on a new contract a year later. Less than 3 is in the air. This tale takes place more than 2 decades ago, when the phones were still dumb and the discourse on social media was still smart. GeoCities was still under construction and MySpace didn't even exist yet. I had just left my small hometown behind and started college in a big city, where I learned that there is an upper limit to how much ice cream one man should eat in one sitting, and that total anonymity is not enough to escape the legacy of being the computer guy. One night I was hanging out with a few friends, getting my ass kicked at Marvel vs. Capcom by a girl whose strategy was essentially mash all the buttons. Let me tell ya, it stings just a bit to keep losing to someone like that. Still does, in fact. Anyway, the night went on and we all started discussing our school life. It turned out the girl who'd been kicking my ass for the last hour was having computer troubles and needed to get an assignment delivered to a professor by the end of the week. I can help with that, I blurted out. Damn it, my cover as a normal human is blown. Really, she said. That'd be great. Come fix it tomorrow afternoon and I'll send you home with some food. I had been tutoring in exchange for home-cooked meals for some time by this point. It's a great way to meet people and not starve, and most of the people I knew didn't have much cash either, so everybody won. So the next day I visited her house, turned on the computer, and heard an awful grinding noise from the CD burner. Has it always been possessed? No, this is new. Ah, well, it looks like you'll need a replacement. Although I don't remember why anymore, I knew she needed that drive operational ASAP, so I took her down to the local computer shop. I spoke the language of IT and managed to get her a deal on a 4X burner. Slaps top of box, this bad boy can burn so much data. Back at her place I installed the drive and saved the day, netting me a big hug and many thanks. As I was putting my screwdriver back in my bag, she turned to me. Hey, do you want to go out for dinner? To this day, there is exactly one person in this world whose computer I don't mind fixing.